Right, hello, this is the branch vlog for 0.2.2.7, the one on the right on the heist, the lighting expansion version 2. The whole premise, or well, the reasoning for this was because I originally had 2D style levels, so the floor was a plane, that was a plane, like flat, like a plane as in a square. So that was a flat plane, that was a flat plane, that was a flat plane, that was a flat plane. Each had their own texture. They were put next to each other. And you see, like, you'd see the seam and everything. Didn't really like it. Wanted to move to the what I refer to as the Lisa Simpson's diorama um, exhibition thing. You know where it all goes wrong. I can't remember the episode's name, but where you've got a 3D, it's a 3D level, but the front is cut off and the roof. And this is what you see. It's all 3D. Um, what would you call them? Static mesh through Blender. With that, led to the lighting just going, just not liking it. So you'll probably see a lot of my earlier videos in this sort of format, where if you go Alt and 3 does unlit, Alt and 4 does lit. And as you can see, oh, and G, by the way, turns it from game mode, like gameplay mode thing. So like that. So you never really got to see the benefit of the shadows, and it was very dry, very plain. I've I've migrated, well, I've upgraded it, the lighting side of it, to include like the 3D models. I've reworked it a bit. Static mesh looks a bit better. It's not perfect, but it's functional. Um, Little caveat before I kick off: the enemies and the NPCs don't have normal maps, or they have old normal maps, which was like an edge normal thing. I use something called Sprite to automatically do it. Meanwhile, the textures I've done, I've like the items, I should say, I've drawn by hand all the normal maps. So you'll see the lighting looks significantly better for the items and the background and like the level static mesh than it does for the your character and the other players. So that's that. Right, let's kick off. First one, Barry's Dresser Sprite Weirdness. This is, it's an unreal thing. Like, if I'm being straight up honest, it's an unreal thing. Because when you went to use it, you press E and it would work fine, but it would contract to 0.5 scale of itself. And the reason why it contracted to 0.5 scale of itself, which is here, is because originally I made some items in version 3 140 by 140 pixel squares, so they couldn't, not everything was a square, but that was like its realm of what I could draw. Anything I wanted to make for the item, I had to make it within that 140 by 140 pixel square. Some were 140 by 140, so version 3 as I refer to it. Some were version 2, 70 by 70, and so very few were version 1, proper old school. You might have seen the original 35 by 35 pixels. So each time it just power of 2 multiplies, I guess, times by 2. That's probably a more proper way to say it. So when you went to use it, it contracted to the version 2 of itself, which was 0.5, like that, and then it go back to that. Nothing in there was telling it to do that, except from it historically was 0.5. So there's some weird historical code. There we go. I'm so used to doing unlit, I even press F2 right away. When you're playing it, it's F2 and F3. When you're in editor, it's Alt and 2 and 3. Let me just check. Alt, no, Alt 3 for unlit, Alt 4 for lit. In the editor, when you play it, it is F2 for unlit, F3 for lit. I wanted to make that clear just because I know the numbers are a bit different. Yeah, So guess how I fixed it? I decided to do it the proper way that you do when you're testing things, rather than try and, oh, maybe it's something I've done wrong with the code. No. Fresh instance of a level. I should have called it. I don't think I deleted it. Oh, why? Where is it? Where on earth has it gone? It's not here. Should really. Oh, dresser level. And what am I doing? I'm blind. So I did this. Essentially made it look like a shop. And I just went through each one and I went, fine. Buggy because I've put loads of them in the same place and some of them are too close to each other, so it's causing all sorts of issues. And you can see some of the shelves have a print thing to trigger what's inside it before you crack it open. But the main takeaway was it wasn't the code, it was some historic thing where it used to be version 2 and now it's version 3. Worked easy peasy fine. So that one, Barry's, is that one. So yeah, it was just a bug, and guess how I solved it? I deleted it and put it back in again. Magic. Seriously, it's the equivalent of turning it on and off in IT for some of these Unreal bugs. You start thinking you're creating all the bugs, and it's not 100% always you. So that's that one. Chair's too big, several rooms. Lower, is it lower domes left? No, is it? No, lower domes. Yes. Um, Again, moving it to version 3, 140 by 140 pixels. The chairs were 70 by 70. Moving it to 140 by 140, I kind of made it look a bit pretty with the pattern and stuff like that. But the issue being scale. Like you can even see now the scale is 75%, so 0.75 all round for X, Y, and Z. That's for all the chairs because it's just a bit too big. I think I got a bit liberal with it having more space, so it's user error on this one. So I just changed all of them, which the ones that are too big were set to 1 1 1. So the newly added in chairs, I believe. Um, since I upgraded to version 3 sprites 140 by 140 pixels, then I added in them, and those were the ones which were a bit too big. So that was easy enough to fix. Kitchen level movement, left door wrong. I said in the previous, I was going to say sprint then, oh my god. Previous branch that I moved it to enums, didn't I, like in here, rather than just having a string literal, and I migrated everything so you can see here from string literal to enum, string literal to enum, all these. Well, doing that, all the doors defaulted to Protagonist bedroom, so I had to go through and change it to make them point to the correct place. I accidentally put um, hallway instead of hallway lower, so yeah, it loads up the level, and then it uses the level movement to pick which player start. So these, so it was just loading me up randomly in the hallway level, because even though it could load up the hallway level, there was no player start called kitchen to hallway lower player start underscore PS. So yeah, that was that one. Fix up. Inventory widget needs to be closed when storage is closed. Let's play this one. It's technically not a bug. You will see there's an overlap with the inventory and storage widget. That's just not on this one though. Some of them, annoyingly, but not everything. Originally, you press E to open it, press E to close it, and the inventory would still pop open like that. So now, there you go. Pretty nice and neat. If you want to see how I did it, I could show you. Right, so we want item, interact no collect, storage. We want storage blueprint. We have, if you look on the left, we have hide storage. I've just done that. Instead, very old, we're talking late 2023. It's in tutorial, not tutorial purgatory. I was going to say that's wrong. No, good traction, but we're in tutorial mindset, not knowing enough to know do it yourself mindset. So that's how it was originally. That's how it was originally. It would feed to go, hey, the storage is closed open, but that was that. So just we'll have to look at upgrading the inventory widget further into the future just to make it fully my own. And with that upgrade, I will incorporate this sort of logic into just being one function. But in terms of this situation, I already had a function called hide inventory. So yeah, when you hide the storage, it triggers hide inventory. And then yeah, that's that. Easy peasy. So that's stops you having the inventory widget just open, trailing along, and you have to manually close it. Boxes in kitchen wrong place. You might have noticed, and I've completely forgot to mention it yet, that all the levels are significantly reduced in y-axis. So think like this way, this way. So if you're moving forwards to the door or away from the door, that's the y-axis. I've cut it down because there's just too much floor real estate and it just doesn't look a bit mental. So now there's a bit more space. Perspective's looking a bit jarring. Orthographic looks alright, but you see, it looks a bit more like originally it was like double the sizes, didn't look right. And with that, the boxes were taking into account the old level X, Y, and Z floor availability. So just moving it forward. Kitchen door right doesn't feed into door transition. Yes, you see I've got an exit there and it's a double door, and then we look at this one and it is an exit and a double door, and that's why when I play it the writing is back to front, but if I go through, ignore this bit, when I go through the writing is the correct way because it's an exit, so it's back to front, the writing is back to front. There's something in the door transition level where I was doing something clever where because I haven't actually got the double doors to open in an animation, I was just like, I set it to hidden when I was testing something, and I never set it to unhidden. So you'll see, like, it's the wrong way around the text, isn't it? It's supposed to look like, if we go like this, it's the right way around now because you are entering, but you'd expect it to be backwards on exiting. So fix that bug of when you go into the transition it not showing you a door and you were just walking into darkness. It was just because I'd hidden it by accident. Cafeteria door right not pointing to the correct level. You can see it's a lot of bugs. It's a lot of bugs because I changed a bunch of stuff, and that enum thing, like the enum for the level permeates so many blueprints. You know, anytime when you've got human interaction, there's a risk of human error, but also when there's a human action which is almost identical on each repetition, you're likely to cause errors. So all those refactorings you're seeing here were almost very identical, and certainly migrating all the doors, migrating all the door logic, clicking into each door, doing it, it's very, very, very repetitive. So I again set it to hallway rather than hallway lower. So yeah, load up the level, couldn't find the place start, so it puts you in a random place start. Again for guard post, human error, hallway thing again. Shouldn't have hid that. Let's hide the other thing. You know, I do like a showcase at the end after I've done all these, so I will mark it if you want to just jump to that. It's in the not about me, is it? The little description bit. Same for the recreation room. I won't even load it up because it's the same thing. Need to align Y and X axis objects to wall and floor. Yes, so with removing the floor real estate, it wasn't as simple as doing a new Blender object and then just going like, oh, Like this is version 3, you can see just on the end, and then it's version 2 with more space. That's how it used to look. Let me do unlit. That's how it used to look. Look how much space there was, and now it looks like that. But as you can imagine, it didn't align it perfectly. Sneaky little door. There we go. Sorted. So it didn't align it perfectly, so I've had to go through each one of the levels and um, align it to like the walls and stuff. Some stuff is away from the walls simply because it needs to give the illusion of 3D. Like now. See what I mean? If I did the dresser to the wall, it would look like it would look really odd. But yeah, so yeah, that for each one of the levels. Use text instead. Use text. Should be in quotes. Use the word text instead of equipped the word text on the weapons. And when I say maybe others too, I mean equipment. I did this and I mass changed something, and somewhere between that, I didn't change the text, but somewhere between that, maybe it was just an oversight by me, that still had use rather than equipped for the equipment. So sorted that. That was job done. Easy enough. Single piece. Right, so that's bugs done. Hooray. Single piece staircase. Have not implemented it yet, but I will show you what I've got. And I'll show you why I've done it. You'll see. Yeah, we'll save that actually. You will see that in the hallway we have two separate pieces closely put together, and it's just a bit redundant. You know, if it's like if we know it's going to be that, why don't I just do it as a single piece? Then it doesn't currently have a normal map, so you see, even though when the lighting's on it, like they have normal maps, the handrails, but the stairs don't, and that's why it looks a bit jarring when you go to lit mode. But two separate pieces. If I go to items, levels, stairs, version 3 blender, I'll have to unlit it, but there we go. I've also extended that bit as well, because you see the floor doesn't go very far, so I needed to extend it to make it match that. I know it doesn't look, it's not perfect, it's not like the ship ready, but it gets it glued together and I can test that. I haven't implemented it yet. You will also see, like, that's why even if it had a normal map, it'd be dark because it's not a lit area. But that's why it's like that. That's something to add in into the future. So it was just to create it, not to add it in. You will see on the task. Upgrade lighting to 3D. Yeah, let me pick the first level. The first level you always see you playing it. Press G, not G. Let's go to lit. Hide that. That's just H, and Control and H if you need to unhide everything. But you click on one thing, press H, and it'll hide it. The lighting that wasn't really the problem. The problem is this. It was too dark. So I've created an interior light, rectangle light. So rectangle light's its type. I've called it interior light. We've already got rectangle light for kind of space light shining through. I know it's technically dark, isn't it? But you know, it looks cool. So we've already got that shining through always. And when the main lights are off, the shadows. So that let me explain it. Point lights create shadows. They're the only things that create shadows originally. And then when you turn them off on the switch, I turn on the shadows of the exterior rectangle light. When you turn on the switch, the exterior rectangle light shadows are then hidden, and then we just get these shadows. That's how it was originally. Now, imagine the interior rectangle light is with point light. It works the same as point light's shadows. So when the point light shadows are on, so the wall light shadows are on, the interior rectangle light shadows are on. When it's switched off, then rectangle light exterior does everything. I'll showcase in a minute. It's not perfect because, as you can imagine, the shadows are coming from directly above, so the shadows look a bit odd. But the issue was the wall lights just don't pump out enough light in the current form, so it's not a perfect sign. I haven't perfect art yet. I'm still working on it. But if I press L, see, it's just too dark. You can't really see what's going on. But you can see some of the shadows. Like you see look at the globe with the normal map. I've coloured that normal map, that globe to look like that, so it's brighter on the top. And that's because the light is coming through. The only shadow you can really pick out, to be honest with you, is that middle pillar. This near the spaceship. The spaceship is called the Kamsiru, if you're interested. I don't think I ever actually said what it was called, but there you go. And then the shadows change like that. And if we go to here, this spotlight is different. So whatever shadows it casts, they don't interact with the light switch shadows and all the other lights. There you go. That's that. And there you go. There you can see the shadows coming through on the rug, the mat. But I need to work on like the range, because you can see like the shadow range is off on orthographic. Perspective looks great, renders it perfect, constant. But on orthographic, there's like a range there, as you can see then on the left. So not perfect, but not terrible, and actually capable of playing the game with lit now. So I've done that. I had to change the light switch, but I already mentioned it right at the bottom, so I'm not going to discuss that yet. So that, yeah, version 3, moving it to that. Hallways, again, just using the same sort of logic. You can see it's one big interior light. It only goes so far. So it goes like that, like that. Yes. Tidy up lighting folder. Yeah, it was just a bit of a messy mess. Items, interact, no collect, lights. It was all dumped there. So now I've got the masters outside, like I have for like character. I have the masters outside, and then I have the individuals where you can go inside of it. Followed the same thing. Masters there, spots go there, rects go there, and points go there. Remove specular materials. Yeah. So I created the new lighting system, right? Go back to this level. Everything was shiny, like it was metallic. Like this, not the weld, the level static mesh was shiny like it was metallic. And that's because in the material, if I go to the material, specular was like 0.1, 0.01 or something, and metallic was 0.01. So I just turned them to 0 and 0. So now, while the light shines on it, it's like a matte. It's like a matte brightness, if you get what I mean. Like there's no shine. It doesn't look like it's metal. Carpet looks like it's carpet. There is an argument where you could argue the walls kind of look like they're carpet, but not really. Um, it's all right. There's some work there, some nuance to add in the future on how materials, like this is very basic material. You could do loads of complex calculations, and I could make it look at certain parts of that like UV map and do like the top half be specular. There must be a way to do that. I'll just have to do it on X and Y, like the UV coordinates. Yeah. Created rect interior light. Its purpose is just to flood the room with light. When the light switch is on, it's got its current brightness. So I've gone to the master Rect Light and done it. The exterior Rect Light doesn't use this functionality, but it's on the master, so the interior and exterior both share it. But you see we've got a default intensity, which is whatever it is, and then the dim intensity, which is a third of what it is. And when I won't go into the light switch yet to show you, but essentially when you turn it off, it goes to dim interior light, and when you turn it on, it goes to default interior light intensity, meaning that it's dark, but it's not too dark, because like this, it's dark, but it's not too dark, but it's light, but you still could kind of argue, oh well, it's just the lights. It's the lights on the wall making it bright. You know, like it's not like where on earth is like it doesn't look too completely look. It doesn't look too unrealistic that the light flooding the room right now is just from the wall lights. So yeah, that proof of concept new scale protagonist bedroom. Yes, you could see. Cut it down. It was 1.5 in Blender scale, and now it's 0.75. Some rooms I've not cut down, like the recreation room because that's bigger, and the cafeteria because that's bigger anyway. But almost everything else has been cut down. If I just pick one, for example, we want levels, prologue, storeroom. Like, look how tiny the storeroom is. Much more realistic of a storeroom now, rather than being this giant room that no one's populated. So, see, just it feels like a storeroom, doesn't it? They're way too big, actually. I need to change that scale. Do it now, actually. Oh, it's already on 0.5. 0.33. Oh, no. Can't change the scale here. I need to change it within the item, which I'll do later. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's that. Update Act 1 levels. Yes, so I deleted the Act 1 levels because, as you can imagine, they are copies of the old way. I've not changed it to be A1 underscore instead of P underscore, because if I am changing anything else in Prologue, which hopefully I'm not, but if I am, and I find something I need to change it, I could just directly overwrite it. Then when I'm truly confident Prologue is as ready as it's going to be, then I will reinstate the underscore A1, because it's not as simple as copy and pasting it. You have to do it one by one like this, and then it messes about the version control, because Unreal it just can't really handle you creating loads of copies and duplicates and rename of levels. Which that's wigging out, even if you try and do it in the Windows Explorer, like this, through that. Really doesn't like it through that. Do not copy the levels through the file system. Do it within the editor. Is my recommendation, because it'll disappear on the editor, and then hopefully you've got version control if you've done that. Shorten y-axis space. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Interior rect needs to be darker when no lights are on. Yes, I will show you this when I talk about the switch. Tweaked beds to be more sensible. You may have noticed that the bed is lower than usual, and it used to have 3 of these like struct things in like holding it up, and now it's got 2, but they're all at one side. Still not perfect, but again looks way better than before, and it's not over the glass now. The beds are going to be a bit fiddly, because as you can imagine, if I go to perspective, watch this. See, like, oh, you can actually get by him now. Whoops, I have to move him. But you see, it's just not orthographic. You can kind of get away with it, but perspective's a bit just doesn't look quite right, does it? Yet. So it's on me to figure out. There we go. Let's shift him. New scale y-axis for all rooms. Yes, like 5 different things are the same thing. I've done that. So I went to Blender and changed them all first. Right, light switch. Let me show you the light switch. So, main difference. Don't worry about that being a string literal, because I haven't actually started using that functionality yet. So it does need upgrading potentially, but yeah, it's not active. So we've got toggle lights, but before we get to toggle lights, we have firstly adjust interior light shadows, which is, let me shrink that. This is what I made completely myself. This branch. So interior rect lights variable, you see here. How you add them in, give you a bit of a refresher. If I click on the blueprint, you see I add in all the lights. So you see those point lights. There you go. There's 3 point lights in level 1, 2, 3. 3 to pick from. And as you can imagine, in exterior technically there's 2 to pick from because they're both rect lights, and the variable's just looking for rect lights. Exterior light isn't its own blueprint class. Like, I'm not messing about that. Not for this. And then we have interior light, so that's new. And we have spot, but nothing's being used for this level. Everything, every interior light, you saw there was more than one light potentially. There'll always be one. I think I'm going to set the interior lights to always be one blueprint, but multiple lights within that blueprint, simply because they're going to work as a single unit. It's not like wall lights where I need to differentiate between the different wall lights if I want some to flash on and off. So yeah, is not empty. True. Oh, flash off, flash on is what that means. If that's true, then don't mess about with the point lights. Look at the interior rect lights. Give it default intensity for each rect light within that array of rect lights. Set that's new intensity. So that's to turn it on. Default intensity, turn it on. So when point lights are on, turn it on. Because you could also see where it's not flash on, flash off. Are the point lights visible? Are the wall lights visible? Yeah, then default intensity. If wall lights are not visible, then dim intensity. You know I talked about that dim and default intensity that I put in here. Here on begin play. That's feeds into there. Spotlights are here as well, just in case. So, like some levels have spotlights. If you remember, the kitchen has spotlights, but some other levels just have point lights, and some have both. So this is why it's repeatable. It works on complete, but there's no spotlights, so it'll just blast straight through it. Yeah, so it does this chunk all in one go, then it moves to the next step. By the way, if you look at the complete, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, it's fine. It's fine. Technically, it feels like it should work. That complete should be doing something, but it's fine. Fine for now. Something for me to think about. But yeah, that's the adjust interior light shadows, just like we've got adjust exterior light shadows. This actually needs to be toggle rect. I don't know underscores. What am I doing? Toggle rect light shadows. I need to make it universal now because it's just not exterior. Because originally I just did it as a separate function, but this is normal. This is how it was. Same as you saw before with the interior, but it's exterior. Flash on, flash off, blah 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 blah. Exactly the same. And then after you've done the exterior, but it's to do with casting shadows, not controlling its light source, but controlling its shadows. So this one needs to be, silly me, I've named it the wrong thing. This is why I need my QA tester kids here, but they would never find this stuff, so yeah, this is my job to QA. Yeah, so this is the shadows. I talked about, the exterior rectangle light shadows come on. Shadows come on when the lights, like the normal level lights, are switched off. Same for this, but other way around. So when the lights are on, make it visible. Cast. So the top, like look at the top. think of it like this. So when the level lights are on, you've done the light switch to turn on. Exterior lights shadows gone, interior light shadows on. If you turn the light off, this one, then, well, this one as well, then exterior light shadows on, and then interior light shadows off. It's back to front. And that's what I was referring to in this one. But it's not just to do with light, it's to do with shadows, this one as well. So I've named it properly. Silly me. And if we play this room, you'll see what I mean. Oh, no, not unlit, lit. You see flash on, flash off? You see what I've got there? So when it's turned on, you've got, so you have a defective light I've created. So you've got a flash on, flash off. You turn it off, turns off the others. That one has a slight delay, and then it turns on because there's something wrong with that light. So that's that whole flash off, flash on logic looking all kind of cool. Huh. That keyboard's invisible. That's got the wrong thing on it. I'll fix this now. You'll see what I'm doing. It's either behind or it's got the wrong thing on it. Interesting, interesting. Unusual. Did I just not click it? Ah, oh, right. I've faffed with this, so it's probably gonna look weird now because I'll just do a placeholder. It'll work now for a placeholder, and this is why I said about not doing Act 1. I've actually loaded up Act 1. I don't even know, but copy. You know what we'll do? Let me double check. Prologue bedroom. That's got the problem. So we do Act 1 bedroom for Barry, even though it's called Prologue. Copy it, put it into Prologue. Hopefully it doesn't crash, because it really doesn't like you messing with the levels. Oh, that's not helpful. This is where we're going to get all sorts of trouble. This is why you don't mess around with the levels. Let's delete that one. Yeah, it shouldn't break anything, except from maybe the editor. Unreal, innit? Unreal. It must be doing just something weird. Levels must be like a holdout of so many things. Right, prologue level. Let's just fix it on the fly, because we'll always fix it again. Not the keyboard this time. Right, fine, done. And then he's in the wrong place, isn't he? Right, you know what? We'll leave it like this, but I'm going to redo the whole Act 1 levels anyway. Let's just check the prologue version looks alright. So flash on, flash off. That monitor needs to have a flashing little thing there, doesn't it? Like my monitor in my room. But you see, it's very dark, so you can't really take full advantage of the shadows. But where the shadows are there, yeah, you can kind of see it. You can see here where perspective can cause a challenge over orthographic. Look at the bottom bit. Or the desk. Looks weird, doesn't it? But orthographic. It's just a bit more static. That chair's too big. I tell you, you see all sorts when you're finally looking at it. I shouldn't be doing this on this video, but you know, things change and you gotta change it. That's alright, isn't it? And then got a bit like that. Shadow's not right, but so that means it's not aligned perfectly, but it'll do. Only changed it in the prologue because we'll just wipe those Act 1 levels and be done with it. Let me do Control and 5 to make that a bookmark. So now press 5. There we go. Not terrible, not great. Also, shadow quality. Is it here? I've got it to do the shadow resolution as changed it. I've definitely changed it. That's why the shadow resolution doesn't look too great, because I didn't want it to be too crisp. But I think I might have only changed it for the exterior. Like, huh. See, there's so much to freaking change. That's why it's dark. Because the exterior light should have been in front. Let me see how that looks now. Pressed it again, shouldn't have done that. That's a bit better. See, the shadow's a little bit better now. There we go. So you see, it's a work in progress. The lighting needs tweaks, and when there's tweaks, you've got to tweak other things because you've tweaked it, like I'm needing to update the light switch. That's because it's too close to other stuff, I believe. That's why it does that error. So, yeah, that's that. This is it done. Let me just give you a quick showcase through, and then we'll talk about the future. And I have put in some tasks to do a hard and fast plan to get us to alpha. No more, oh, I came up with this cool idea and added this in, blah blah blah. No, if it's going to be locked in, like not minimal, like minimal viable product if you're trying to sell it, but with love. So, but essentially, if I'm like, oh, I don't like the color of this dresser anymore, that ain't gonna be included, you know. Or it'd be really cool if I made him jump 10% higher. That stuff isn't going to be part of the plan. The plan is going to be to get Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 done, get the missions in, get the bugs fixed with the weapons, and then we've got an alpha, functional alpha. There you see it's flashing on mine, because I put mine's a flipbook. Let's go to this room. I won't show you all the rooms, because it might take too long. But there we go. The lights need to be adjusted. The brightness needs to be, oh my god, needs to be adjusted in the bathrooms. You can't really, I need to put a normal map shade on the bottom bit of that, because you can't really see the curtain and the blind going up, can you? You just see the space. You see more of the space and then none of it. So yeah, bits and bobs. Lights on, light off, way too bright. But yeah, the interior light has been copied across, and I've reshaped it to the room size, but I haven't lowered the volume of the intensity. So it's a smaller room and need different intensity. So I won't go in that one. Let's just go through here. You can see the normal map looks weird because they have no normal maps. My character has edge normal maps, so it still looks weird, but not as weird. Go to this one. There we go. Need to work on the shutters for the static mesh shutters. The 2D ones all had shutters, but not all the static mesh ones. For the background, only the bathrooms have shutters, like a shutter sort of logic. If you're wondering why it flickers for a moment, I'll show a bit more. I just want to fix that thing. If you're wondering why it flickers for a moment, it's because it loads it on the fly, and I have 4 different static meshes. Oh, no, I have one static mesh with 4 different materials. You only see one there, but there's functionality there where it picks depending on what you pick. If I click this, let me just show you it. See, it's got four materials, and that's those blinds going up. So I need to get it, and then stage 0 is like what it starts on, so index 0. So I do need to get some work in to get it to auto save, not auto load the materials in, rather than it having to do that flicker where it's trying to load it on the fly. Red is because you're in the bathroom or an NPC. Blue is because an enemy's in the bathroom. It clearly is stuck. Obviously, this was me testing like the privacy logic, so nowhere near finished. Yeah, it's stuck. But That's the reason for that. Um, no, it's kind of out. Should we fix his legs now? And then I'll show you the hallway. And then poor guy, having a rough day, isn't he? He's one of the main characters as well, you know. Main enemy characters. Yeah, it's David. David's stage 2. Does he want to move now? There we go, we've helped him out. But only the... Huh, can he get me? Yeah. But only the medical zombies are fully realised with like a first draft of the version 3 sprites, like these ones. That's why David didn't move. So the lights not perfect. That's the word preview is written on it. It's not me. It does it. I need to rebake it or like rerun the light logic because I jiggled about with it. So yeah, stuff like that. You get the idea. Let's just go to the hallway lower and then we'll call it a day for the showcase of the lighting. Yeah, again, you'll be thinking, it's not great, but you got to remember that we're actually playing it with lit now. So with shadows on all this time for the last like what 8 branches we've been playing it with unlit. So big. It's a big improvement in the sense of actually being able to have shadows and see everything now. Uh-oh. Got random good. Dee. Go and you go, look at the cameras, all the different rooms. There you go. Oh, it's in here. Cool. And then we can press L. And then this is like an interior light. Remember I said no. And it does give shadows though. It does give shadow. Because it's the spotlight thing, isn't it? That logic, you know, where I said I was unsure what it would do. Spotlight. Can I turn that off? Nah, I'm not close enough. Yeah, I'll fix that spotlight logic with the light switch very soon. Let me just explain why it still had shadows. It's to do with here. When it's complete, it's not turning off the shadows. So, you know, why don't we just fix it now so you can see what I mean? So really, to complete just passes on and then loops through. False goes like that. But if it completes and there's nothing to loop through, I need to think this through. Look at spotlight replicate point light logic. See, it's not as straightforward as me just going, oh well, you know, like the branch does it because if there's no spotlights, then it'll just complete. So then it won't use this logic to change the lights. I believe I should really be making it work off complete to move to the next, but it's not that straightforward. Not without it causing loads of like weird like non-errors. So leave that with me. I'll fix that. Let's talk about the next steps. I've added in a bunch more branches. So level 1, Act 1 level creation. Some of the levels, bunch of them actually, are just Act 1 variants. There's about 5 new levels that I'll need to create. And then the door variants, so a bit of blood on them. New doors for some of the levels. The widgets, I talked about the widgets creating like when you interact with a computer and a pager and a radio and documents, maps, all that sort of stuff. New items, we talked about that. we've talked about sketching out and creating the remaining static meshes. So this is Act 2 and Act 3. Already discussed that. Bug Buster, just like I've had before with the number 1, just blast through, just get loads of them done. New to the list, multi-directional sequences. There is functionality in, go here, go version 3. Actually, you know what? It's blueprints. Let's go to blueprints. Blueprints, character, protagonist, animation blueprint. Let me click on the top right. Go here. So right now, I do these as individual. As you can tell, I haven't upgraded brace shoot. That's a version 1 sprite. That's how they used to look. That's like proper. That's true version 1. But I don't use brace aim at the moment. I brace shoot. Not currently. Functionality's there, but I haven't still taken much of it. And that's version 3, version 1, version 3. I didn't. What? So, Windows and 3 loads up. Where does it? Okay. Okay. But anyway. Yeah. But you can do multi-directional. So depending on which way you're looking, and you can have lots. N is just volume, like, volume of how you're looking. You get all the different sprites. That I saw a thing where it said I've never played Octopath Traveler. I mean to, because it's very similar to mine in the sense that it's like a 3D-ish world, 2.5D-ish characters and stuff, 2D characters. So it's a similar sort of concept. They use this multi-directional. Right now, to decide whether you're going left and right, I do proper old school logic. So look at the movement velocity, whether you're looking left or right, depends whether it flips the z-axis. So that's normal, that's flipped. I draw everything looking that way, and then it's flipped. So you know what I mean? It still says bloody use. That's not normal. See, aim. Everything has been drawn facing right, and then I flip it using that. There's an ability to just use multi-directional. So migrating over to that, it'll make life a bit easier, and it'll also mean I can completely cut out this logic potentially. The line trace to shoot the bullets does use this at the moment, so it will be an overhaul of that at the same time. Normal maps for John. Yep, John doesn't have any normal maps. Remaining sprites for NPCs and enemies. You saw that some enemies don't have moving sprites, even like it's like version 1 of a version 3. Version 3 sprites because they're 140 by 140 pixels, but version 1 in the sense that it's an initial draft of making all the sprites of that version 3. So yeah, task to get all the walking, the dying, the attack, the uninjured, uninjured to injured, initial injured, badly injured, death, brain death, like truly dead, so they don't get back off the ground. All that sort of stuff for every enemy needs to have that incorporated. NPCs need like the walk ability, talk ability, some cool idle and ability. Maybe one drinking coffee, because you can see Sarah's already got coffee in her hand. No, there. There you go. See, she's already got coffee there, so I might as well get her to drink it rather than just blinking and occasionally breathing. That remaining, so that's the normal maps actually. No, sorry, that's drawing the sprites. So diffuse map, if that makes any sense to you. If not, texture map, colors. This normal maps after that, how it interacts with the light. So you've seen firsthand what happens with bad normal maps or no normal maps. They don't interact with the light properly, but normal maps interact with the light properly. Like you see here, it's low resolution, isn't it? But you see it's darker on there. because it's not catching the light 'cause it's at the bottom, but it's brighter on the top because that does catch the light, and just like the globe. See, unlit, lit. Door drawer handles, so they shine out in the darkness. Just show you it quickly. So if I do that, like you can still see the drawer handles. If I didn't normal map it like that, you wouldn't see that. You just see brown or whatever. Um, slight interactions with just how things shine. Yeah, so normal maps for everything. So NPCs, enemies. Done that twice. 1 second, 1 second. Normal maps for John. Enemies, enemies. Silly me. Change it now. Right. So then, and then off the back of creating the sprites, so really I should call them textures because I'm making the texture, I'm making the diffuse map, then the normal map, then the sprites. Technically, I've done that back to front, so I'll flip that in post production. I'll flip it after this video, and then yeah, then the animations. So we do diffuse map, we do normal map, we do sprites, then we do animations, and then we do the animation blueprint, and that's that. Thank you for your time. I know it's really long. It's really long, and you might be thinking there's not much substance there. The next branch, which is Act 1 level creation, will also incorporate the plan to get us to where we are now, 0.2.2.8 to 0.5.0.0. So, alpha ready. That'll make more sense. I'll cut it down by, I'll narrow it down by the items I need to make, the quests I need to make, the functionality I need to make, and everything. Nothing else is. I know not everything's like visually ready, but because it'll be alpha ready. Everything is visually ready, good enough for an alpha. So if the levels were fully done now, like, and the missions are fully done now, and the enemies were fully done, and the shooting worked fine, and everything else, like, its visual fidelity is acceptable for an alpha. So visual fidelity will improve in alpha to beta. A lot of 2024, part of 2023, and a little bit of 2025 has been taken up by enhancing the visual fidelity from that version 1 to version 2 to version 2 to version 3, and then increasing functionality and then playing around with animation blueprint functionality was just making things better. So there'll be more solid output, less there'll be more output, there'll be more yield from they automatically stand when you play it, so I didn't notice it originally. There will be more valuable yield from the time I'm putting in this project. Thank you, and I will see you in maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2, 3 weeks. See you later. Bye bye.